Hello, welcome to Shad Life. Coffee. I haven't done an update video in a long time, and I feel like I need to do one. There's been some recent comments about me, people wanting to see me ride more BMX and this and that, and too much POV footage, and so on and so forth. See there, I even said and so on and so forth for you. So this video might get a little long because I just want to update you and kind of give everybody kind of, what's going on. Why is it so sporadic on my channel and so on and so forth. All right, let's get to it. I got my coffee. Although I'm almost out of this one, I might have to go get more coffee from upstairs. These are always my favorite kind of sticker. I have it on my bench just for humor's sake. This bicycle is not designed for competition, stunting, jumping, or off-road use. Bicycling can be hazardous. Always wear a safety helmet. Really? Bicycling can be hazardous? What makes you think that? That's better. All right, I'm gonna do these in order. So first one, why haven't I been riding more BMX? Well, I have a full-time job. I have a full life. YouTube is not my job, nor is it my life. It's just something I do on the side. And I get out and ride BMX when I can. There's a couple of things, one, I tend to go to the same skate parks and I tend to do the same things over and over again. So when I do a video, I'll do it on some things, but then I don't want to just do another video of the repeat same stuff over and over again. So that's one of the things. And there are times when I just want to ride. I don't want to film, or it's too busy, too many people, and it's hard to set up a camera. And there was one instance recently where I was doing the manual at the Eden Prairie Skate Park, and these skateboarders had this loud music playing in the background with, music that will demonetize my channel. And I was kind of like, should I ask them if they could turn their music down? And I was just kind of on the fence about it. And I finally went over there and said, well, I'm doing this little video clip. Do you mind if you turn the music down and maybe turn the little boombox thing or whatever it was the other way? And yeah, they got irritated, right? And so it's not always ideal conditions, and I felt kind of stupid going up and asking them, or even if it's appropriate. And then I did, and yeah, they did turn it and turn the music down. I thanked them and everything, but they were definitely irritated. One of the guys said, well, that's annoying or whatever, and another guy was like, well, I hope you get enough subscribers or views for this clip or whatever, right? So they were not happy, obviously, and kind of picking on me. So it's not easy to film when a place is busy, and I don't like it when there's background music, because then every time that happens at a skate park or something, YouTube demonetizes my videos. And I have messaged YouTube and made comments about it many times that background music should not demonetize your videos. If it's the main primary music you're using in your videos, yes, you should have license permission or something like that. But if somebody happens to be playing music off in the background at an event or at a skate park or something, and you're filming for your channel or whatever, they shouldn't demonetize it for that. So that's a really frustrating thing. So yes, I understand that people want to see more BMX, especially, I'm 57. It's kind of cool that I still ride BMX and stuff. But it's not as easy to film as it may seem, and that's what makes it a bit more challenging. And like I said, sometimes I want to just ride my bike. Ideally, and this is where, if you see some of the other YouTubers out there that have a lot more viewers, and maybe they make a little more money and their content's a bit better quality or whatever, it's usually because they're not doing it by themselves. They usually have another person. I was just watching Jeff Kendall Weed. He's a mountain biker, but former BMXer, super skilled guy and stuff. But when I'm watching his channel, it's super high quality. You have to realize he's got somebody filming for him, and you hardly ever hear about that person. And his clips where he's just getting super rad and manualing and doing all these like super rad things, he's not doing an entire lap of a mountain bike loop. There's very few people have the kind of energy that you can have to do that. And I think what happens with YouTube, and this is why I said this video is going to get a little long, because I really want to talk about this. What happens with YouTube is people get this idea in their head that this is how things are, and the reality is like he goes, finds that cool section of trail where he can manual and jump and do these cool things because he's a trials rider too, so he's got a super high level of skill, and he rips through that section of trail in that clip, or a couple sections of trail. They splice it together. He's getting rest breaks in between when they're setting up the next shot, and he's going back up and things like that. Very few people, and I'm sure when he's out riding by himself, he can do that and stuff, and he's pretty fit and things, but you can't ride at that level of intensity all the time. And so you got to kind of be, kind of know that when you're watching things, right? Now for me, it would be awesome if I could have another person filming, but I don't, and I can't afford to pay somebody that, nor, is that the direction I want to go? I don't know yet, right? If somebody out there that's local or whatever wants to volunteer some time, maybe do some intern work if you're into filmography or something, wants to do that for me, great, right? But I haven't found anybody to do that. The quality of the content can step up pretty good if you do that. What I have to do is I carry the camera in my pack, tripod and the GoPro. I have to stop, whether I'm at a skate park, I gotta set all that up, and then I gotta turn it on, and then I gotta go back and ride. I actually bought the remote thing so I could just set up my camera and then click the remote, and then it turns the GoPro on. It doesn't work very well, so I gave up on that. And I never really know if the GoPro's on or not. So I have a trusty method of how I do it, but I end up with a whole bunch of lead time on the beginning and the end for this short clip of me riding by. It takes a lot of time to set that up, do my ride, go back, turn the camera off. Sometimes I'll do two angles, my coming angle and my going angle, or for you, coming angle and my going angle. But that even takes more. Like I gotta position the camera, get my coming angle, then flip it, and then go back and ride and try to mimic where I was at, and then get my going angle. I'm doing that all by myself on the trail, and if there's other riders on the trail, it gets challenging. So there's a reason why I do a lot of POV footage, which is kind of the other thing that people have been bringing up. And there's a reason why I haven't been doing as much BMX, is because it's not as easy as it looks to go out and get clips when you're by yourself. If I had somebody to film for me, I would be able to do a lot more. And if I had somebody even editing for me, that'd be more, because after you do all the filming, there's the whole editing side. And I'm not complaining, I'm just explaining to you kind of why things are the way they are for me, I'm almost up to 5K subscribers. That's not, on YouTube terms, that's like nothing, right? It's cool for me, a local guy just filming by himself that doesn't take this as their primary job, right? But it's, I love doing it, and that's the reason I do it. But I also want to do it at my own pace. I also want to do it when I'm feeling up to it and things like that. And I don't really want to fall into the YouTube algorithm. I have said that from day one when I started taking my channel a little more seriously, is I want to kind of be fluid, and I have a lot of disciplines of biking, you know. I've got mountain biking, I've got 3 different mountain bikes going on, you know. I've got 2 different style drop bar bikes, and you know, when I did the state 4130 all road, people took interest in it, so I'm like, oh, maybe people are interested in gravel biking road, or I don't really road ride, but I mean, I ride my gravel bike on the road like my last few videos. But you know, and excuse the mess, but I'm actually I'm going way off topic for a second, but I have shop lights now. I'm trying to work on the lighting here. I've got one here, and I'm just trying to work on this area. So I'll talk about that in just a second, and that right there, and so on. So this video is going to be long because it's an update video and I have a bunch of things, but I'm talking about this first because this is a topic people are probably more interested in and what's going on with my channel. But yeah, I do a lot of different disciplines, and I like to film a variety of things. I don't just do BMX, I don't just do mountain biking. That's probably the primary thing I do on my channel, is mountain biking. BMX would come as a second, and you know, gravel biking, road biking, whatever, is a third. And it's just what it is, and I like to just have a variety of content on my channel. So you as a viewer, watch what you want to watch. I mean, obviously, if I say I'm doing a 33-mile road ride or whatever I titled that video as, and you're into my BMX content, you're probably not going to want to watch that video, right? It's going to be boring to you. But there are people that do like that video. So, and it's not as big of a audience as my other audience, right? And same with mountain biking and everything else. So I just wanted to get that off my chest. But I do want to talk about something else. I think I'm going to sit down. So here's where the honesty part comes in. So I need some coffee for that. It's been a tough year for me. Well, you know, starting in winter. Keep in mind, my mom passed away in December. And that has kind of put me on an emotional roller coaster. And I feel like I kind of stuff my feelings about it a lot, and then every once in a while it just comes out and I'm like super bummed and things like that, and then I go back to being like, you know, and you know, now both my mom and dad have passed away. So it's like, you know, I think about it now and I'm like, wow, I don't think when they were alive I realized how valuable my parents were. Like, they were people I could go and talk to whenever I needed somebody to talk to about stuff, right? And deep emotional stuff, things like that. Especially my mom, but even my dad was good. But he died quite, I don't know, not about 4 years ago, I think it was, right when the pandemic was getting started. So I don't have that as an emotional support tool anymore. So I'm having to shift and try to figure this out. And it's really been a tough year for me. It's so crazy. Like, and I'm going to be brutally honest here. There's times when I'm just, you know, I get done working for the day. My motivation to do something is zero. Absolutely zippo. And it's not something that I expected to happen, and I feel like I don't have like a lot of control. It just happens, right? So I have to pull myself out of that and force myself to go do something. And once I do that, I'm grateful that I did, but it's getting myself to that point of doing that first step of just getting out and doing something. There's times when I get done working, and work is pretty intense. I'm a software engineer, my brain's fried. I'm just like, oh my God, I just want to take a nap, and I'll take a nap, and sometimes I'm just out for a while, right? Well, by the time I'm like ready to go, it's kind of later in the day and stuff, and you know, yeah. There's definitely been some times when I could have gone out riding, but I just wasn't able to do it. Now, add on top of what's going on with me personally and emotionally to the weather that's been going on this year, I feel like ever since Bentonville, or even before, we had a really crappy winter. Like crappy winter in the sense of didn't get much snow. I think I got out on my fat bike like 2 or 3 times. None of it on the snow. It was all on dirt. And it was just such a weird winter. And then we come into spring and it's been just raining. It's been so constantly raining all summer long. Like usually we get some rain in the spring, then it's like kind of sporadic early summer. And like July and August are usually very dry months, actually too dry sometimes. But this year it's been raining constantly. Trees have been going down, so like a lot of times even trails, like right now, it's like I'm seeing trails opening back up after the last big storm that came through. And they're all like, well, trees down on here, trees down there. We're trying to get the trees cleared, whatever. It's just been a bad year for single track here in the Twin Cities Metro and kind of this whole upper Midwest in general, because we've just had so many storms and so much rain, and the rain makes the dirt soft and that soaks in, and then it makes it easier for the trees to topple over. It's a kind of a wild year. See, you add that on to like, oh, I really want to go ride, but the trails are closed and wet, right? Or I really want to go ride and a rainstorm comes through or whatever. Like it's pretty wild. See, add that on to my already struggle, and so it just hasn't been the summer that, I would have wanted. So the good news in all of this is that I'm aware of this. I'm very aware of myself and who I am. I've done a lot of work around that. This YouTube channel would not have happened had I not been doing a lot of self-work and stuff like that. And so I'm aware of what's going on with me, and because that's a big part of the battle, so then I can work on it, right? And so I'm doing the work, I'm trying to figure this out, whatever. But sometimes, and this is reality, time. It takes time. Time is needed. And I think people pressure themselves to hurry up and get back into like a normal state of being. And it's like, no, sometimes you need time to heal. And you don't know how much that time is or how long that time will be. And that's just the reality of things. So, all right, so there you go. I've always said I will be honest on my channel, and there's a bit of honesty right there. Reality. We all go through it. So that's a good chunk of this update, but I have a few more things I want to talk about. So if you're interested, stick around, and I'll do that timeline thing again so you can pick what you want to view, just because this is going to be a longer video. So, okay. More coffee is needed. I want to talk about helmets for a minute. And I don't know, I was watching a video a week ago. It was a skateboarder actually doing a handrail and got about a third of the way down the rail. It was a big stair set. I want to say maybe 25 stairs. It was a big rail. And it wasn't waxed enough or things. By the way, I watch a lot of skateboarding. I don't skateboard much myself, but I certainly watch a lot of it. It's such a rad sport. And Andy Anderson is another kind of person I follow a lot. And so speaking of helmets, he talks about wearing a helmet all the time. But I saw this skater, he got on the rail, his truck or something, it wasn't waxed enough, and his board stopped and he flew off. The first thing to hit the ground was his head. And it's like, and he got up, kind of shook it off, whatever. But that's a concussion right there. And you do that too many times and you're going to have issues. Let's go back to Dave Mira, right? There's some talk that he had, I think they call it CTE or whatever. It's a common thing with football players or whatever. I think that's a thing, where he just had enough head injuries. I mean, he committed suicide. And it's like, man, Dave Mira, like the ultimate BMX legend of the world, and he commits suicide, and they're saying, I don't know 100% sure about all of it, that, he had this, brain issue from many head hits, and he wore a helmet. at least most of the time I saw them in videos and stuff. I just wear a helmet, you know, just seriously, skateboarding, BMX, whatever. I know it's not cool. That's the problem, is people think it's not cool to wear a helmet. I'm starting to see more and more riders wear helmets in BMX, but skateboarding, man, they are so anti-helmet, and I just don't get it. Put stickers on it and personalize it, make it cool, whatever, right? But wear a helmet. So let's talk about the orange one behind me. So this is what I wear for BMX. I got it when I was at Ray's, and it just sits on my head, and I have this here, and it moves around and stuff like that. And I'm like, gosh, for mountain biking, I wear a MIPS helmet. And so I started researching online. Do they make a BMX/skate style helmet that's MIPS? And yes, they do. So this right here is a MIPS skate/BMX helmet, and yep, made by, I don't know if you're supposed to say POC or POC or whatever, but my regular helmet that I wear now is this brand, and I saw that they make a MIPS style BMX helmet, and I got bright orange. It's kind of funny. I was thinking, they had a bunch of colors, and I'm like, I don't know. Do I want bright orange? I really thought about it, and well, one of the reasons I got bright orange is for Ray's. When I go to Ray's, I ride with like friends of mine and stuff, and I'm like, if I'm wearing a bright orange helmet, my friends will be able to easily find me. That's the primary reason why I got bright orange. So call it silly, whatever. But anyway, it's cool, and it's got the MIPS, and I really like it. And I can tighten this and adjust it, and it's snug on my head, and then I know if I fall, it'll have that kind of movement that helmet's needed. So yeah, POC makes MIPS BMX/DJ/skate helmets, whatever you want to call these. But super stoked about this, so I will be wearing this from now on for BMX. I might still wear my green one. I need to find some thicker pads to make it a little more snug, but I might just wear that out of convenience and to kind of keep this one in good shape, but we'll see. I don't know. I like the green one. So yeah, helmets. So the next thing I want to talk about is the Smokey, and another thing that I went down this rabbit hole with the Rulesman stem, and I'm kind of looking back going, yeah, I mean, I like experimenting, but man, did that just not work out for me. The concept of it was neat, but the problem is that the front center is just way too long, regardless of how you bring the stem back. And you know, I got it set up, cockpit set up perfect on the medium Smokey. But that medium Smokey has a 465 millimeter reach, which is huge. That puts the front wheel way out there. For me, I'm 5'7". My Ti Hayduke is 420. The Canyon is 435. And now the small Smokey, which is what I ended up getting and changing out the medium frame for, is 430. For me, 5'7", those are the reach numbers I need to stay in, and I learned that lesson. And the problem is when I get into that reach, the Rulesman stem then makes the cockpit too short. It works great, like when I had it on my Spectral, when I first tried it out and I put it on my Spectral, I loved it for jumping. I took it to Taft, and man, it was so awesome. I was just like, phew. So it makes sense for like a jumping situation to have that shorter cockpit, that ability to pull back on the bars really nicely, have that alignment. Oh man, it felt so good. But for pretty much everything else, it seemed a little awkward. I think the other place that it would work good with a longer front center, like so if I still had the medium Smokey, the only place that Rulesman stem and the super long front center is for, or would work really well for, is pointing downhill at pretty steep angles. That's what it's for, and it makes sense because that's what that stem was designed for. So it's an enduro bike stem, and then there's a downhill version for like downhill forks that has that short reach. So for the kind of riding I do and for flat level riding, it just wasn't working out. And so I'm sticking now with the reach numbers that work for me, and I'm going to stop experimenting with these long bikes. I am going to do a video here shortly. I did a video about front center. I'm going to kind of revisit that video, but I'm going to talk a little bit more, and it's going to be related to John's crash where he broke his collarbone, which was recent. I'm going to get into pretty good detail about why I don't feel like these super long, super slack bikes are good for most riders, and I'm gonna get into detail of why. So that video should be coming soon, because it's gonna take me some time because I gotta strategically figure out how I'm gonna present it so you understand it better. So yeah, expect that video soon. So now that I have the reach stuff figured out for my bikes, I want to, kind of one of my goals with my Ti Hayduke anyway, and it's kind of unnecessary now that I have the Smokey, but we'll see if I end up keeping both of these bikes. I don't know yet, but the Ti Hayduke, I've wanted to have this bike kind of interchangeable so I can change out wheel sets. And I remember when I had my steel Hayduke, and maybe you do if you've been following my channel for a while, and I set it up as a mullet or an MX build with a 29 front and 27.5 rear. Right now this bike has 27.5 front and rear. Well, over here is that mixed wheel set. It's a 29 front, 27.5 rear Hunt trail wide setup, and these are carbon wheels on there, and I actually have 29-inch Hunt trail wides on the Smokey. I can't set up the Smokey as a mullet because that'd just make it way too slack. This bike is already super slack, so doing that would make it just too ridiculously slack. It already kind of has that little floppy feel on it as it is. But this bike with a 66-ish degree head angle will become a shredder set up as a mullet, and so I'm gonna do that just for fun. So I ordered from Hunt micro spline because that wheel set has just regular Shimano HG, and this has Shimano XT cassette on it, so I had to get a micro spline. So I gotta swap this out onto that wheel, and maybe I'll see if it's different than other wheels. If it is, I'll do a video on how to do that. If it's the same, I'm probably not, because I've done a few videos already on how to swap out your cassette. And if you're curious, I'll put them right up there. I'll put a link to the one of those videos. So that's kind of my plan to kind of make this. And so here's kind of what's going to happen then. If I can swap the wheels out and make this bike super shreddable and comfortable for me, probably a good chance after I do all the testing and rides with the Smokey, I might not even keep that bike. We'll see. I like it, but it's very single purpose, and I'll talk about that in a video about that bike soon. As where this bike is very multi-purpose, and I even feel like my Canyon Spectral is multi-purpose. It can be like full-on shredder because it's got the geometry for it, but it's not too long and too slack. But I can also ride regular single track and cross country and stuff with it. So again, I'm gonna do a whole video talking about geometry again, because I feel like the bike industry just keeps going down this path of long and slack, and it's like, no, we need to get back to the sweet spot. And the only exception, and I will say this because there's those of you that'll comment, is if you are like out west and you are doing all that gnarly downhill stuff. But keep in mind, the whole rest of the country, even Bentonville, doesn't have trails like that. Like I think of a place like Bentonville, and I'm like, God, my Spectral 125 just absolutely shreds there. And so would this Ti Hayduke and so on, and probably the Smokey too would shred there. But the Smokey is the most aggressive geometry bike I have now, and it does seem it shines when it's pointing downhill, but everywhere else it's just a little kind of I mean, it's better now that I got the small, but I recently rode my Ti Hayduke, and it's so snappy and punchy, but it's almost too snappy and punchy. So that's why I like the idea, if I set it up as a mullet, maybe that would put it right in between, right in the sweet spot. We'll see. So expect that video coming here soon. I've got all the parts I need. That's why these discs are sitting here. Whatever you do, don't touch the brake surface like I'm doing now. The reason I'm touching it now is because this has been sitting in my bin for a long time. You can even see rust marks. So I have to go and like completely clean this, but it's still good. Like, it's still got plenty of life left in it. I just need to clean it up, and so that's why I'm touching it now. But just FYI, don't ever touch your disc or the surface of your brake pads. Just don't do it, because the oils on your hands will wreck your braking experience. So I have 180, 160 all set up. I've got that deal. I've got the 2 tires that I want to switch over onto those rims, and I'm all set. I just got to do it. So there you have it. So all I'm asking is for you to bear with me. Just stick, you know, if you follow me for any one of the genres of riding, or you like all of them, then stick around. I will always kind of mix it up and do different things. But if you like the BMX content, I will get out and do more BMX content. It's just not going to be every video. It's probably going to be maybe 1/5 of my videos will be BMX content, roughly, right? So, and mountain biking will probably always be the more primary content of my channel. My personal stuff, I rarely do those, but I do them every once in a while. I talked about my sobriety and things. But this channel is called Shad Life, and that's what it is. It's about my life, you know. And I've actually been thinking, you know, I have like an RC truck that I like to mess around with once in a while. I have drones, and I keep pondering, should I bring that into my channel? I had it on there before and people weren't all that interested. Like, should I bring my other hobbies in? And then it'd even get more mixed up, right? So you let me know what you think in the comments, but I really do appreciate your support for my channel. I do not plan on stopping YouTube anytime soon. I plan on just going with it because I like doing it. It's the only reason I do it is because I like doing it, and I like doing kind of whatever I'm feeling like doing in the moment. And I'm never gonna cater to the YouTube algorithm. I do appreciate your feedback though, I really do, and some of the feedback is that people want to see more BMX content, so we'll see what I can do. Appreciate your support for my channel. Please like and subscribe. Peace.